What's going on, guys? Zephnix here. I'm on my lunch break right now. So, got me some Powerade. I guess technically it's a breakfast break, but whatever. Let's go ahead and talk about this for a second here. Funimation was just purchased by Sony. Okay? Now, how much they were purchased for is irrelevant, to be perfectly honest with you. It doesn't even matter how much they purchased. It's in the billions, like, yeah. But the thing is that what does that mean for a lot of different things? Like, what does that mean for PlayStation? What does that mean for Funimation? What does that mean for Sony? What does that mean for Team 4-Star? So, which is, to be honest with you, the more important one is Team 4-Star. But let me go ahead and talk for a second. Now, while I am a big fan of Funimation, I never, like, Funimation is one of those people, one of those companies that prove to me that they are the kind of people who only treat people like people when they need to, you know, and stuff like that, you know. I kind of make reference to the whole jab at Gamergate, you know, and I do understand that, you know, with the whole Gamergate situation, a lot of people was misled to believe it was some kind of revolt against women, you know, when, you know, it really wasn't, and not even close to it, you know. But at any rate, the thing about it is that, like, Funimation's always been really good at what they do. You know, they started weak. I remember Funimation back in the day. They started very weak. I remember they started with one of the first Funimation things I saw was with Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball dubbing, not Dragon Rock the Dragon, but not that much original, but the original one for Funimation, when they started right after they started dubbing right after the Rock the Dragon parts happened. You know what I mean? For those who don't know what I mean, don't even worry about it at this point. So what happened was that, you know, that particular one was a little weak. You know, they were pretty damn new. But then by the time that they redubbed it, they were just much better at their job. You know, they were much better. But especially then, and then literally when Kai came around, they were just much better at it then. You know, like literally, that was kind of the cool part about Funimation, because like Dragon Ball is a prime example of how, you know, of just kind of watching these guys grow. And one day I'm gonna do a video on it. Listen to the original dub of it, and it's like, oh, it's kind of painful to get through, but at least it's in English. And then when they go back and kind of redub it, then it sounds a little bit better than what it was. And then what happens was that when Kai comes around, it sounds even better than the other two. So I really, really, really like that part about it. Definitely love that part about it. What else is there? So that's one part that I really do like. So when it comes down to this particular situation, now, what does that mean for us? Like, what does that mean? Well, Funimation is definitely going to benefit because of the whole, you know, because Sony has always been a strong player in the anime world for like 2 decades, at least 2 decades now. So that's one part that I'm really liking. Number 2 is that Sony, because they've been in the anime game for 2 decades, they've always wanted to get their hands knee deep, more deeper into anime, more deeper, you know what I mean, deeper into anime, you know, because they do understand that it is a very viable business. So, you know, now they own, I believe they own both Funimation and Aniplex. Aniplex. I can never say that right. It's been, but for those who don't know, even as a kid, Aniplex was always at the front end of really good anime, you know. So if you like now, if you looked at it and you see that Aniplex, you definitely know that was pretty good. You already know that it's going to be a decent anime. Like, you sit down, grab that popcorn, it's going to be good, you know. And it's kind of the same thing with Funimation. So for Sony to actually own both of them at this particular point in time is really, really good. Now, Sony also owns their own streaming service in Japan. Anime streaming service in Japan. Now, it's a very good chance that Funimation might actually go ahead and change their service instead of Funimation Now to just turn it to their service, or maybe vice versa, who knows. But here's the thing. What does this mean for, well, Microsoft? You know? Now, if Sony wanted to, at this point, they could go ahead and shut off all connections with Microsoft. You know, and you know, for the record, they also have a connection with Crunchyroll, and they could go ahead and just cut off that connection too, but I sincerely doubt that they'll do that. But what they could do is actually go ahead and just tell Crunchyroll, hey, from now on, you cannot go ahead and stream any of your stuff on any other any of your Funimation stuff on any other platform except the one that is Sony. But at the same time, they've never done that with the Aniplex stuff, so sincerely doubt they're going to do that. Anyway, I'm just saying they could, but they probably won't, because you can still watch Aniplex and anime on Microsoft or whatever the case may be. But this will allow Sony to go ahead and kind of have more involvement with an anime, you know, and who knows what can stem for them. So this is very good stuff for us anime fans. Now, what does that mean for Team 4-Star? Now, if I remember correctly, I believe Team 4-Star got hired on by Funimation before they, you know, before Funimation sold themselves to the devil. I'm sorry, to sold themselves to Sony. Just playing. So that's actually pretty good. That will, I believe, that will go ahead and kind of allow Team 4-Star to go ahead and continue doing their particular thing with no problem whatsoever. That is what I honestly believe. Now, another thing I really want to go in and make mention of is that, let's go back to the streaming service for a second here, if you don't mind. Because the one thing I will say is this. This is literally the step needed to go ahead and take out Crunchyroll as the main leader in anime distribution right now. Now, keep in mind, Funimation is definitely the leader in anime distribution for English dubs already. So, you know, they got plenty of English dubs, and, you know, plenty of them where that was one of the things that Crunchyroll was lacking, you know. And then at the same time, Sony, well, I guess we can call them Sony now, but Funimation was missing a lot of those extra subtitled ones. But now, with the money that is, you know, from Sony, we could see a lot of exclusives, a lot of, you know, basically Sony has the power right now to turn Funimation now into the literal Netflix of anime. It is true. They've been trying to get to that level. This is a very good move to do it. So this could mean, oh, speaking of which, so this could mean that you could have your one-stop shop for anime, but we already have that. Kiss Anime. We already know that Funimation has been a driving force against Kiss Anime and stuff like that. So what does that mean for Kiss Anime now that Funimation's got some serious muscle by the name of Sony behind them? Well, I gotta say, it's extremely hard to go ahead and stop. It's extremely hard to go ahead and stop, you know, pirating and whatnot. You know, excuse me. So I can't really answer that, but I sincerely doubt that it's going to have a big effect. But I will say this. It took them a while, but they were able to go ahead and, I wouldn't say stop torrents, but they damn sure slowed torrents the hell down. Some of the biggest torrent sites out there now, you can't even get a hold of anymore, because of the fact that companies like Sony and other companies out there were the driving force against them. And they literally shut them down, you know. So there's still some out there, mind you, but those are nowhere near as big as some of the ones that were out there before. So they could mean the end of Kiss Anime. I mean, at this point, Kiss Anime is like, they literally are, you know, they go ahead and bring up, hey, we got kissanime.com. Oh, now it's kissanime.ru. Oh, now it's Kim Anime, and, you know, they already got Kim Cartoon. So I don't know. But at this point, I think the only people who are going to lose right now is Crunchyroll and Kiss Anime with this particular acquisition. And it is an acquisition. It's not a merger or anything like that. Or, but eventually it could become a merger. It could be actually be the point where, or not even a merger, because it can be a merger and acquisition at the same time. But it's going to be to a point where most likely Funimation could be engulfed into the Sony family or whatever. But remember, at the same time, two things I want to bring up once again. See, once again, something's coming up. Number one, this is not the first time that someone has purchased Funimation. And in fact, I believe Disney purchased Funimation at one point. And then Disney just called like, okay, you can have it back. Never mind. So that's, I think it was Disney who did that, you know. So that's one thing I want to bring up real quick. So, you know, this stuff could be not forever. The one thing I also want to bring up is that Sony also has a history of, you know, purchasing companies and having companies there and then literally just kind of like selling back the companies, you know, stuff like that. That's kind of what happened regarding, what is it, Sony on Daybreak Studios it's called now, I guess, you know, so that is also a problem, you know. So we don't know. This is definitely not a deal that can be like, okay, it's a deal forever for life. It is what it is thing. It always changes. That's the nature of the beast when it comes down to business. So, as of right now, like I said, it's good for everyone except Kiss Anime and Crunchyroll. For my reasons I just said. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this whole acquisition thing. You guys have a good night. Zeph out.